This sanctioning body president is not a disinterested party. He, as he's claiming, I'm not. He has business interests he clearly feels, in my opinion, are threatened by a shifting landscape in boxing. And I am a part of that shifting landscape. It ain't business as usual anymore, where these cancerous sanctioning body cells drain the life out of the sport year after year.
Max Kellerman, even when challenging the most powerful figure in the WBC, has made his position unmistakably clear. The alphabet soup era is finished, and sanctioning bodies like the WBC are a cancer to the sport. With 25 years of receipts to back him up, he's proven that his views are authentic and not influenced by money. This isn't just a media dispute, it's a battle for the future of boxing. And Kellerman is prepared to dismantle the old guard for good. The WBC president's anger makes sense when you follow the money. Organizations like the WBC, WBA, and IBF survive on sanctioning fees, taking a percentage of a fighter's purse for the privilege of holding their belts a tax for greatness that boxers have paid for decades. But everything shifted when Terence Crawford defeated Canelo Alvarez, earned a reported $50 million, and decided he was done paying that tax.
You know, got a lot to say about me not paying him $300,000 plus another $100K something for sanction fees, right? Then he gonna tell me I ain't even apologize? Like, who the fuck you think I am? Boy, you better slap your fucking self. Ain't paying your ass shit. Fuck you talking about pay you $300,000. What makes you so motherfucking better than any of the other sanctioned bodies? Huh? Answer that question. What makes you better than the WBO, the IBF, or the WBA? Everybody accepted what I was giving them. But you, the WBC, think that you better than everybody, don't you? So since you, the WBC, and you got the fucking green belt, which don't mean fucking shit. The fucking real belt is the ring belt, which is free, motherfucker. What are you talking about? You want me to pay you more than the other sanctioned bodies because you feel like you better than them. How in the world all the sanctioned bodies agreed to the same amount, but you sit your motherfucking ass up there and say that I need to apologize to you? The fuck? You can take the fucking belt. It's a trophy anyway.
WBC sent Crawford a discounted bill of about $300,000 just to keep the belt he'd already won. And his response was iconic. He refused to negotiate, publicly said he wasn't paying their nonsense, called the belt a mere trophy, and told them to come get it. The WBC had no choice but to strip him. But the real damage was already done. When the world's best fighter treats your title like it's worthless, it sparks a rebellion. And that's exactly what happened.
Terence Crawford has been very successful in the ring. He has been a world champion for 12 or 13 years, multiple times with the WBO in super lightweight. He won the WBC super lightweight. Then he unified and became undisputed in welterweight against WBC champion, who was Spence, in a great fight. Yeah. He petitioned to fight a final elimination bout in super welterweight against Madrimov and remained champion in welter. The WBC supported him. He did not comply with the rules. Then he moves up to super middle and makes the fight of the century, beats Canelo, makes $50 million or around that. The WBC absolutely is not going to charge 3% of such an amount. We made a very clear 0.6%, which is $300,000, with $225,000 going to the Jose Sulaiman Boxers Fund, which is to help former fighters in need. And it is just regrettable. Not even a thank you or I'm sorry, taking a different route. No response. I wish him the best. But this is not. The WBC is huge, is great. It's about greatness, and I'm relieved to tell you.
Didn't just report the Crawford story, he used it to launch a full-on philosophical attack against the very idea of sanctioning bodies. On his show, he didn't hold back, describing groups like the WBC not as protectors of boxing, but as cancerous cells. It's a harsh comparison, but fitting. A cancer cell attaches to a host, drains its resources to grow itself, and gives nothing back.
Not a disinterested party. Disinterested, by the way, doesn't mean uninterested. They're conflated. Disinterested means you're neutral. You're an observer the way a scientist looks at data, right? They can't be rooting for one outcome or another. And this sanctioning body president is not a disinterested party. He, as he's claiming, I'm not. He has business interests he clearly feels, in my opinion, are threatened by a shifting landscape in boxing. And I am a part of that shifting landscape. It ain't business as usual anymore, where these cancerous sanctioning body cells drain the life out of the sport year after year. Finally, I want to say this. In terms of the thought that based on the identity of my employers, you have to take what I say with a grain of salt. You should. You should consider all these things. You should also judge what I'm saying based on the content of what I'm saying and the truth.
Max argued that while sanctioning bodies might have been useful in the past, today they're nothing more than middlemen taking money from the fighters who actually spill blood in the ring. He emphasized that fans don't buy tickets to see a WBC belt, they pay to watch stars like Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. If fighters are the product and fans are the customers, Max asked, why are millions going to bureaucratic organizations in the middle? He declared that the era of these bodies draining the sport is finished. And it was his cancerous comment that finally made Mauricio Sulaiman snap.
What I'm saying now about Ring Magazine championships and the sanctioning body championships for the past 25 years. I have been employed by Ring Magazine for several months now, but I've been saying the same exact thing I'm saying now for 25 years.
Just pick up Ring Magazine and it says so inside. They list the real champions in each division, and people say, well, what gives what gives Ring Magazine the legitimacy to rank champions? What about the sanctioning bodies? No, the sanctioning bodies have blown it a million ways.
You got receipts?
I got receipts
Let's get it.
posted on Twitter.
When Sulaiman heard Max's criticism, didn't respond with data or financial transparency. He went straight for character assassination. In a Fight Hype interview, he laughed off Max's remarks. But the tension was obvious as he claimed Max's sudden hostility toward the WBC wasn't genuine. His argument was that Max now works for the Ring Magazine, which is owned by the Saudi General Entertainment Authority, led by His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh.
Khan earlier today in an interview, and they spoke about
No, please, I will not comment because that is a scripted commentary. The WBC does not have outlets. They own that outlet, so they can script. And it is so embarrassing how low Max Kellerman, Mike Coppinger, they have gone so low because they do represent a publication. So it is scripted. It's biased completely. So I don't like to comment on that.
Okay. Well,
you're doing an interview. This is not biased. I am answering every single question.
Absolutely.
And I don't owe anything to you. You don't owe anything to me. You ask, I respond. But to talk about a program that is scripted, absolutely.
Sulaiman's narrative is that Turki Al-Sheikh wants to tear down the old sanctioning bodies to build his own super league, that Max Kellerman is acting as his propaganda voice. By claiming Max is scripted, Sulaiman is trying to convince the public that these aren't Max's real opinions, that he's simply reading a teleprompter to satisfy a billionaire boss. It's a smart tactic because it dodges the actual criticism and attacks the messenger instead. But Sulaiman made a mistake picking this fight with someone who understands and values the power of language more than anyone else in sports media.
About the Muhammad Ali Act, they spoke about just it having an option for the fighter to go a different direction, and nothing's going to change. They're just going to add an option where you can fight for another company. You don't have to just stay with the Muhammad Ali Act. That
is not true. That is not true. Fighters have options. They can sign with Golden Boy, with Top Rank, with Iron Tiger, with Queensberry, with Matchroom, with John Doe. those are the options, and Muhammad Ali Act helps them to have representation, a manager to sit down and negotiate and know the financials of every event. And the Muhammad Ali Act prevents the promoters from having a abuse of power, controlling a fighter, controlling the rankings, controlling a title. The WBC has to disclose many things to the authorities in the United States on every fight, on the rankings every month. It is a big cloud that should be analyzed and put openly, because they're very smart on trying to say they're very smart and everybody's not as they are. It is a very controversial thing that should not be taken.
Max's rebuttal was a masterclass in intellectual control. He didn't yell, he gave the WBC president a grammar lesson, focusing on the often missed distinction between uninterested and disinterested. Uninterested means bored or indifferent, while disinterested means impartial and without a stake in the outcome. Max positioned himself as the disinterested observer. He isn't paid by the WBC or promoters and simply reports the facts. Sulaiman, by contrast, is the interested party, financially invested in preserving the status quo. By reframing the definition, Max cast himself as the objective truth-teller, and Sulaiman as the biased businessman defending his dying income stream.
Terence's criticism of the WBC is very well warranted, okay? The WBC, even though it was corrupt back when Jose Sulaiman would do corrupt things with Don King during his tenure, which was even depicted in The Great White Hype, which you were in, but another story for another day. Samuel L. Jackson being Don King, Jose Sulaiman being Cheech in that movie. That's who they were referencing. But despite all the corruption they've always had, when Mauricio inherited his father's company, he had a position to go the right path and make the WBC stand head and shoulders above the rest as clearly the most prestigious belt. It was the most prestigious belt when he inherited it. And instead, through short-term gain, short-sightedness, greed, and all that, he has put himself in a position now where he is losing deservedly in the court of public opinion against Crawford and, more importantly, TKO. And we'll get to that later on. And just to back up, just to not hold any water for the WBC, there's a picture I'll put up here. I remember in 2021, there was a time I had a WBC calendar, and on the calendar, it had Ryan Garcia with a WBC interim title, Devin Haney with the WBC title, and Teofimo Lopez with the WBC franchise title. And I used to make the joke, what the WBC will do is get 3% of Teofimo Lopez, 3% of Devin Haney, and 3% of Ryan Garcia. We will have 3 WBC champions in the same weight class at the same time!
Strongest part of Max's defense wasn't grammar, it was history. Sulaiman claimed Max only criticized the WBC now because of his Saudi-backed platform, but Max produced decades of footage, proving he's condemned the alphabet soup sanctioning bodies for 25 years, always advocating for one Lionel champion per division. This destroyed the scripted narrative. Max's opinions aren't new or paid for, they've been consistent. The deeper issue isn't Max or even Terence Crawford. It's a seismic shift in boxing power. For decades, the WBC, WBA, and IBF controlled rankings and fights. But Turkey, Al Sheikh, and Saudi investment are rewriting the rules, challenging the old guard's dominance.